what you'll often find, even in the wider charity sector, is that, you know, they'll give food baskets, and often people just sell the food because there's more important things they need to buy. So I just think that, you know, we need to catch up, and the Muslim community as a whole needs to sort of catch up in that way.
Isn't that to a certain degree a level of corruption then?
I mean, I guess you could look at that way. Rather
than use the money, for example, to build a water system,
mm-hmm.
that's sort of misuse of money when you're building maybe a well. I don't know.
I'm not saying a well's not helpful. It is helpful. It's just
sorry.
It's just not as helpful as it would be, you know, for building a water system. And this is the thing. If you don't have the right checks, and, you know, trust is great. It's an amazing thing, and we should trust people. But, you know, end to end, from the person that's donating £10 here to the very end, where that £10, the equivalent of that £10 gets to that, I don't know, Iraqi child or whatever it is. There are so many people in the interim, and you might not be able to trust anyone. Or even if it's not about trust, there might be some kind of miscommunication. And if you don't have all the checks and balances in place from A to Z, then something might go wrong. That what is it, £1 million you said that went missing, or however much it is, that I'm sure it wasn't I'm sure it wasn't intentional. But the fact is that the checks and balances weren't in place for that to be prevented. And I think it's because we do treat our charities like a family, or because we have too much goodwill sometimes, that, you know, those checks and balances aren't in place where they need to be.
There was a joke that was going around a few years ago. They said the Prime Minister in Iraq, as he was out, he saw someone begging and then he stopped and he asked him, "What's wrong? You know, why are you begging?" He said, "I don't have any money." So he said, "You know what? Take his name. We're going to send him some money." So he went back to his office, and he got $1 million or whatever, $1 million Iraqi dinars or whatever, and he gave it to one of the ministers and said, "Pass it on to this beggar." The minister gave it to one of the advisors. The advisors gave it to, I don't know, someone else. And then it was just passed on. By the time they reached the beggar that was begging, they said the delivery man, the messenger came to him and said, "The Prime Minister sends his salam and says he'll remember you in his du'as."
There you go.
So by the time it reached him, everyone took out their cut. Is there such, you know, I'm only asking this because you mentioned that if someone donates £10, by the time it gets to the Iraqi orphan, is there such corruption where there's...
You know, there's two things here. Obviously, like the intermediary sort of levels, you know, you need to pay the driver, you need to pay administration costs, you need to pay for electricity, you need to pay for fuel. Those are not things I would call corruption. Those are running costs, or those are administration costs. Does corruption happen? Of course it happens. It happens everywhere, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim. And by the way, I guess I should disclaim and say that the Muslim charity sector is doing a fantastic job. I feel like, you know, we as Muslims sometimes have a complex that we're not good enough, or we're not doing as well. In some cases we're not, as I mentioned. In some cases we really are. But given that we're in an environment where we're being scrutinized more than ever, because there is such Islamophobic rhetoric, you know, in the world, we need to do better, is what I was trying to say. So yeah, there is corruption, but that corruption exists in non-Muslim charities too.
Is there a sense of nepotism within charities where this person's related to this person, so he gets the job, this person's related to that person, so he gets the job, he becomes the secretary, he becomes the treasurer, and it's not the right people in the right roles? I
mean, categorically I can say to that, but I mean, I can't even deny that. No, there is. And again, because I said to you, we treat our charities like a family, and because literally we treat it like a charity.
Literally.
Yeah.
Son,
uncle, brother, cousin. But, you know, because it might be difficult to attract the right talent, but do we even try? You know?
Is that across the board?
I think so.
Within what we're talking here, Muslim charities?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is a sense of corruption then? Because it's not the right...
Putting words that you're going to get me into trouble.
No, I'm just trying to understand that, because, you know, we really need the right people in the right positions.
Yeah, we do.
You know, an alim a scholar in religion is good in fiqh, in his jurisprudence, and maybe theology. That's all he's going to be. But you can't give him, for example, a role in, if he hasn't studied, obviously, a role in finance or to be a treasurer when he hasn't really studied this field. There needs to be someone that has studied within economics or something within the finance sector who gets that role.
Why do we treat charities any different to businesses? If from my point of view, a charity should be treated with more weight than people's businesses, because people are giving you money.
It's amana.
It's amana, right? Then why are we treating it like a joke? If there is nepotism, if there is this corruption, if you are just giving a job to your brother who is not, nearly qualified and has no clue about accounting, you're going to be answerable for that if that money goes misused. I'm not saying it does.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if it does. That definitely takes place.
I think that's the problem that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam faced the most when he became the political caliph, which was certain people thought they were going to get government roles because they're related to Imam Ali alayhi salam, or because they were close to the Prophet. Because of that nearness they had to the Prophet, they thought when Imam Ali alayhi salam became the caliph, that's why a lot of people say, was Imam Ali really a good politician if within 4 years and 9 months there was 3 civil wars, whereas in previous governments there wasn't any? So there's a problem here within Imam Ali. That's not the case. The problem was that Imam Ali alayhi salam was just and fair.
This is it.
And people didn't like that. They didn't like his justice. He was just with his own brother. He was just with his own cousins who thought they could get a government role just because they're related to him.
I think this is it, isn't it? I think justice is sometimes a very bitter pill for people to swallow, and that's why there's that line in the Quran that says, you believe, stand firmly for justice, even if it be against yourself or your kin or your kith. And this is the thing. Often, to actually be able to be really just, you have to give bitter truths that people are not happy with, whether that's your friend or your family. And that's really a lesson to take, I think.
Definitely. I don't want to get into too much trouble.
Might be too late for that.